Hello, dear students. Welcome to What, Why, How, the daily initiative by IAS Baba, where we take up a current topic or an editorial and we declutter it in less than 10 minutes. The topic that I have chosen for today is something that happened in the parliament yesterday. There were two private bills that were introduced by two separate MPs, both of them from the opposition side, which said that the parliament should at least sit for 100 days in a year. Their idea is they have a lot of rationale as to why they have brought about these bills. Understand it is two separate bills, but the intent of both the bills were the same, that the parliament should at least be, for a minimum period of time, at least for 100 days, they should be meeting and they should be discussing the major issues. And anytime if there is a disruption in the parliament, the hours that are lost because of the disruption should be compensated in that particular session itself. These are some of the contents that are there in these private member bills. Now, goes on to the question, why is such a bill introduced? What is the background of this? And if they're saying that we have to meet for at least 100 days in a year, how many times is the parliament meeting right now? What is what is the duration of each of these things? And why exactly did they bring a bill? All of that is what we're going to explore right now. First of all, the rationale for the MPs to do this was to reform the parliamentary system by ensuring that the working hours of the House are not lost due to disruptions. This is one of the first criteria. If you notice, even in the last several parliament sessions, what would happen is there would be the walkout by the opposition, or there would be some kind of a disciplinary action against certain members, and there would be protests against it. So, what happens is a lot of time of the parliament that should be spent in discussing issues of governance, that does not happen when these kind of disruptions are there. Along with it, previously also, if you look at the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution, way back in 2002 had highlighted that the parliament should have a minimum number of sittings, and also the parliament should have a clear timetable. If you notice, the Indian parliament does not have a clear timetable, in the sense that which, from what date to what date there will be a meeting, or what is the duration of it, what, how do you compensate for lost hours. None of these things are there mentioned in a very formal manner. Now, when we initially started with our legislature and everything, during the first 2 decades of our parliament, the Lok Sabha was actually meeting for an average of little more than almost 120 days in a year. So imagine, at that point, they never felt the need to ensure that we should at least meet for 100 days, because for 2 decades, this was going on perfectly in this manner. Then over, after that decade, if you look at our last decade, which is maybe from your 1990s onwards, this came down to approximately 70 days in total. Now, this gets even bad when there's a stat that says in 2020, the parliament met only for 33 days. And now you know the reason why 2020 was a COVID year. And most of the time, the parliament was dissolved for this particular reason. Now, coming into the question as to right now, what is the timetable, or do we have any structure as to the parliament meetings? First of all, the power to convene a session of the parliament rests with the government. The decision is taken by the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs, which is currently comprising of 9 major ministers, which include the Defense Minister, Home Minister, Finance Minister, etc. Now, to note over here is, India does not have a fixed parliamentary calendar. By the convention, when you observe it, the parliament meets for 3 sessions in a year. The longest is the budget session that starts towards the end of Jan. Right now, this is what is going on towards the end of Jan and concludes by the end of April. But I want you to understand, when you have Jan to April, or sometimes even in the first week of May, it will close. But in between, your beginning, after your budget has been declared, what happens is the session will have a recess. Recess means it's like a short break in the middle of a session. The session has a recess so that the parliamentary committees can discuss the budgetary proposals. And understand this is the longest of the sessions. The second session is the 3-week monsoon session, which usually begins in July and finishes in August. Finally, the parliament ends with a 3-week long winter session, which is held from November to December. See, ideally, if you count each of these 3 weeks itself, there is almost, if on all the days without any disruption, if we meet also, here the 3-week monsoon session will give you 21 days, the 3-week winter session will give you almost 21 days. And then if you look at the budget session also, you might be able to put in a 30 days. And it would at least have a decent amount of time, that is around 70-75 days. But the issue over here is these days are not even got in this manner. What would happen is there would be disruptions and there would be severe reduction in each of these days also. So this is with respect to the constraint of having a certain fixed days for parliament meetings. Now coming into the private member bill. So if how will the or what will be the state of this particular bill? See, a private member bill is introduced by any member of the parliament other than a minister. This opportunity is given so that even the opposition is able to bring in very valid points, very valid laws that can be necessary for your governance. But unfortunately, because in India we have, between the ruling party and the opposition, there is a lot of tug of war. What happens is it has a lesser chance to be approved by the parliament. Example, as of 2024, only 14 private member bills have been successfully enacted into a law, and that is since independence. If you have to introduce a private member's bill, it has to be introduced giving 1 month's notice. Then, if you are drafting a private member's bill, it has to be done by the member. The drafting committee will, or the other committees which help to create other laws, they will not be able to help you in this process. A private member can actually bring bills on the constitutional amendments that are there. A private member cannot actually initiate a money bill. If you look at which is the first ever private bill to be passed, it was the Muslim Waqf Bill of 1952. No private member bills have been passed by the parliament since 1970. So I guess with this, both the topics dealt in the news, which is the private member bill part, and even the idea of what is the minimum time for a parliamentary session, etc. All of these things have been decluttered for you. Until we meet again, take care and happy learning.